Yo, what's up? Dr. Swole here. I am a medical doctor and pro natural men's physique athlete, and in this video we're going to be breaking down Mark Wahlberg's training. The video is titled How to Train Like Mark Wahlberg. So you want to look like Mark? Let's get into it.
I work harder now than I've ever worked.
Okay, we had a pretty epic opening. I'm curious to see what happens. There are some points there with his lifting technique already that we can get into, but let's listen to this first.
Get out what you put in, and you have to be disciplined. You have to want it and you know, put in the time. You see the results, it makes perfect sense. It's just what you do.
You definitely have to build muscle, and for that to happen, you have to give yourself some work. The way I kind of break it down for people is...
Okay, whoa, I'm just getting too distracted. I want to listen to the coach here, but him crushing these cable flies at a like all out max speed is just too distracting. I can't focus. Like, what is going on here?
It depends on how much time you have during the week. So for most people, they have between...
Okay, just an aside, but you've got to control your eccentrics, guys. This is just getting out of control, and when you're out of control like this, you're not really getting a good stimulus, you're not really focusing on the target muscle, and it puts you at risk for injury.
3 to 6 hours a week to actually work out and exercise. If you only have 3 hours a week, then focus only on strength training.
I agree with that. I think that if you're short on time, you should really be focusing on strength training or strength-oriented hypertrophy training that's really focused on progressive overload. You should be in the gym, lifting weights. That's gonna be the best bang for your buck. In fact, we're gonna be talking about this from the perspective of physique training, optimizing the amount of muscle mass, building more muscle, and losing fat. So we're gonna be looking at this video from that lens.
That's really the thing, you know? A lot of people say, oh, I only have time for the elliptical machine. And the one thing you'll notice with the gym and what we set up here with Mark is we really don't do any of that stuff. That's the mouse wheel stuff isn't the mode of action for fat.
The mouse wheel stuff. So he's saying that don't just be doing the elliptical, but meanwhile, he has Mark doing this kind of inverted starfish one-legged movement that is basically, this is like the best example of mouse wheel stuff that I've seen. I don't know what this is training.
Wheel stuff isn't the mode of action for fat loss for that 45-year-old. Even for someone, a kid that's trying to get faster in his high school stuff, that the mouse wheels don't take you there. It really is good old-fashioned strength training that's missing in whatever world you live in.
Yeah, the good old-fashioned strength training seems to be missing from Mark's training program. Curious to see what comes next.
This piece that's missing today.
You want to build something that's going to last, you got to do it the right way.
We're dealing with a camp. When I refer to a camp, that's the time period it takes us to really prepare for a role. And based off of last camp, taking 12 weeks to really drop the same amount of body fat that we've dropped this time in 6 weeks, definitely tells me that this performance inspired is off the charts better.
He's basically saying that he's getting this prep for the movie in less time, like 6 weeks rather than 12 weeks. It seems like he wants to build muscle, but losing fat is a major goal. So if he's able to do that, that's good, I guess. I'm curious to see how he's achieving that.
Considering that the only variable that's really different is the supplementation.
Supplementation. This is raising a red flag. If you guys aren't already aware, supplements are a very small part of the puzzle when it comes to bodybuilding, like less than 1%. It's really training and nutrition and recovery actually, which are going to be the main pillars. So whenever someone starts talking about supplementation playing a big role, I raise an eyebrow and I start questioning.
I'm seeing the results, you know, that's the thing. You're working hard, you're training, you eat.
Okay, what is going on here? This is some kind of step up combined with an overhead press?
Right. Taking the right supplements.
Okay, that's a problem when you have combination movements like that where you're trying to hybridize two different movement patterns, particularly like an upper body and a lower body movement. You end up being inefficient on both fronts. From the perspective of the step up, you're not lifting as much weight as you could, or at least one of the exercises is going to be shortchanged in terms of being limited by the other weaker exercise. So you're not lifting as much as you could, and you're not getting a good base of support for the overhead press since you're on one leg. So like this, when you're trying to overhead press and you're just standing on one leg, you're not getting a good overhead press. You're not able to lock in and really focus on pushing heavier weight. So not a good exercise in terms of progressive overload.
You're eating right, taking the right supplements, and then you see the results in the morning. Instead of feeling discouraged, you feel like, oh God, well, I'm gonna work twice as hard the next day because I'm getting the results. You know, that's the key. People get discouraged when they don't see the results. So if you be able to cut my training in half to go from 6 weeks to 12 weeks, that's very encouraging. It's getting to my goal and then being able to then just maintain. It's easier to stay in shape than it is to get in shape.
I agree that it is easier to stay in shape than it is to get in shape, and you're gonna be better off defending that physique once you get it. But that being said, you still gotta get there, and I have yet to see some good training in this clip. So let's continue.
Get to that place and then just maintain.
Our exercises,
He was about to do some press down that I was curious to see, but oh well.
our exercises are multiplanar. So right now Mark's doing a lunge pattern, but he's also doing the ropes at the same time.
Multiplanar. This is code for BS. Look, he's doing this lunge plus the battle ropes at the same time. This is another example of what we were just talking about, doing the combination exercise of the upper body movement plus the lower body movement, and you're shortchanging on both sides. Battle ropes at best are like a mediocre cardio exercise. I mean, I'm not a big fan, even from a cardio perspective. And from the perspective of lunges, lunges are a great movement pattern. You hit your quads, you hit your glutes, lots of stimulus. But you're not adding enough weight here. You're not making it a progressively overloaded exercise. You're basically just doing body weight from the lunge perspective, and then you're hitting the battle ropes on top, and you're just dissipating a lot of energy. This is more like a cardio type movement more than anything else. He seems to be just doing a lot of hit cardio.
He'll be over there with the cable fly machine, but he'll also be doing a step with it. So a lot of the motions that we do on this particular camp hasn't been anything about like just the normal like squat, deadlift. It's not that, only because of the size that we're trying to get Mark to.
Hold on, the size that we're trying to get Mark to, I mean, whether you're bulking or cutting, your training is going to be largely the same. You want to be hitting those main compound movements that are allowing for progressive overload and allowing you to push heavier weight. So what he just said, things like squats, those are what you want, whether you're bulking or cutting. You want to have those heavy overloadable movements, not this kind of weak hit style cardio stuff.
So really a lot of the complex movements have whittled his body size down, body fat down. Intermittently, we always add jump rope.
Jump rope's a decent cardio choice.
And it's worked out great for us this camp. Pounds in the hand right there. That's a 70-pound suitcase right there.
Farmer's walks, not too bad a choice. I mean, you're gonna train grip strength, you're gonna hit your traps, some core, but it's not my ideal because it's difficult to track in terms of actually progressing reps, like how many reps did you do? And it's not that amenable to progressive overload.
70 pounds, taken for about 100 yards.
At least better than some of the other stuff.
No, that's what makes it so core engaging, is that your body has to hold it upright.
Okay, at least our trainer is taking a dose of his own medicine.
Mark really is that upper echelon for having muscle mass that.
Okay, what is going on here? This is some kind of hip thrust combined with the band pull apart. We're losing on all fronts here, guys. This is not looking so great. The hip thrust, or basically hip extension, is one of the most powerful movement patterns in our physiology. So if you're gonna be doing hip thrusts, you should better be adding a bunch of weight, and body weight hip thrusts are doing nothing for you. Like for a guy like Mark, he should be hip thrusting like some serious weight. So I don't know what we're doing. Plus we're combining this with some kind of band workout. I don't know what's going on here. This is just getting disappointing.
As long as the metabolism falls into the right place, the muscle will melt all that fat. So really, for us, 90% of the work is just the nutrition, making sure that all the nutrition is delivered on time, that we're really avoiding any of the crap, you know? I mean, there's nothing boxed that we eat, there's nothing packaged, even the performance inspired.
Okay, so he's saying that they're cutting out a lot of processed foods to get Mark to lose fat. I like this approach actually. I think that cutting processed food is a great way to reduce unnecessary fats and sugars, and focusing on single whole ingredient foods is really going to help you lose weight and lose fat. So I think I do really like that approach. I don't think it needs to be like 100% like zero packaged items in my house, but I think that it is a good approach for fat loss.
Proteins that we're having, it's all natural. So that's just a big piece of the puzzle, is that the body doesn't have to filter all that crap out. You know, fat is...
Oh God, here we go again. Another combination multiplanar exercise. We've got some kind of twist over ab type exercise combined with a lunge. This is like more of a stretch than anything else.
A way for the body to protect itself. And in this situation, making sure that we're recovered properly, making sure that we have the nutrition right, and then, you know, making sure that he's got his rest days lined in. You know, we work out super hard 5 days out of the week, but we have 2 days where we go in, we actually have to let the body recover.
Okay, I like that. Making sure that you have some built-in recovery days. Sounds like Mark trains 5 days per week and he takes 2 days off. I think that's very reasonable. Most people, if you're natural, you don't need more than 4 or 5 days in the gym per week. Myself, as a pro natural men's physique athlete, am in the gym 4 days per week. I think you do need some rest days. People will often say like, oh, Bill, you're a pro, you must be in the gym every day. Not true, and it's not necessary either. So I don't think most people actually need like a 6 days per week program or 7 days, so keep it in moderation.
Recovery is such a big topic because people don't really...
Okay, the wood chopper lunge. These are just further iterations of dumb shit that's going on with butchering the lunge. It's such a good exercise, but not when you mess it up this way.
The recovery, I worked out hard, but now you walk away and you're so sore that you can't even work out the next day.
If you work through the pain, say you work out, you're sore the next day, you go into workout 15-20 minutes into the workout, that soreness is gone. Now there'll be a little bit of soreness the next day, and putting, you know, getting the proper nutrition, the proper supplements, which is, you know...
Okay, this is some kind of kip up variation of a chin up. You're shortchanging yourself a whole bunch of range of motion on that, so I would not recommend this.
Putting, you know, getting the proper nutrition.
Look at that. Get your full range of motion in for the most part, guys. You're just using body momentum to get yourself up there. Okay, more combination multiplanar lunge butchering. I'm really sad about this. This breaks my heart. This is like CrossFit stuff. I don't understand. I think people want to get in the reps. Like they feel like they're being productive because they're kip-upping their way through like 100 chin-ups, but they're not full chin-ups. They're not real chin-ups. Really focus on controlling the eccentric, getting that stretch on the lats, and then really bringing yourself up under control. Okay, here's a problem. Okay, watch his bicep curl technique here.
Gluten-free, tested.
Okay, you don't want to do that, what he was just doing, where he brings his elbow back at the bottom of the curl. This is because you're basically swinging with your shoulder and you're not actually using the bicep. You want to keep your elbow in a fixed position just in front of you and then curl at the elbow. Okay, there are some proper lunges, actually staying in one place. I like that.
You know, take various protein products.
Lat pull downs, decent technique.
Knowing exactly what all
Okay, there again, he's swinging at the shoulder on his bicep curls.
products without knowing exactly what
See that? The elbow's coming behind the body.
the ingredients were, and they weren't natural, and these were, you know,
The health enthusiast
And what was going on there? We're just gonna keep going.
and the professional athlete. That's what for product and help people through it. Focus on how do we give back to the communities? How do we help more people?
you know, I look at life and everything that I do as a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, this kind of leaning on the side single arm row is not a good exercise for your back because you're coming from a very weak position. You don't have good balance, so you're not able to actually progressively overload the back. I guess they're trying to use it as some kind of core exercise, but it's very inefficient.
Want to have longevity, if you're in for the long haul, and you look at life as well as performance, both in work, on the field, at
Okay, some type of combination ab and push-ups.
home, everywhere.
More ab to basically mountain climbers. This is just like, we have nothing better to do. Let's work up a sweat. You see all these HIIT classes wasting people's lives doing this. It isn't efficient. It burns calories, but it isn't gonna actually help you build muscle, which is gonna be the most efficient form of exercise if you're trying to optimize your physique. Focus on progressive overload, build muscle when you're in the gym. You're still going to expend calories when you're lifting with heavy compound lifts. Focus on progressive overload. But when you have that muscle mass, it's gonna help you a lot more in terms of burning fat.
Everything I do, I want to perform at the highest level.
Oh my God.
Eating in the proper nutrition is probably about 85% of it. You know, for me, I like to put
I agree that nutrition is the bigger part. I wouldn't quite give it 85%, maybe something like 70-30.
push the workouts and kind of change it up and test myself.
But maybe it's more like 85% if you're training as badly as he is right now.
If I always want to be able to lift a little bit more, I do a couple more reps. But it really comes down to eating right. That's just a little workout, baby. My favorite part of the day, other than hanging with my wife and kids, is getting into the kitchen and turning that blender on and making a shake after I went.
I love how they're drinking protein shakes out of red Solo cups. Like it's a full-on party here. Okay, they're showing some actual heavy lifting equipment here, like barbells, dumbbells. I'm getting excited. Let's see what we got.
I'll try not to fart.
Please don't.
He's gonna fart on him while he's rolling him out. Oh my God, anything but farting, please no. This is Mark getting revenge on his trainer for making him butcher all of those lunge variations.
I'll try not to. That's good.
I'm trying to.
That's good. Is that the interior too, or was it the capsulolithus?
This is cafeliciousness.
That's the capsulolithus. Nice work!
Gastrocnemius.
No, exactly. Kick some science.
He's changed roles so many times, and each role creates a different starting point. I really respect him for the fact that, you know, as an athlete and being able to bring himself to that level of intensity, for lack of a better word, you know, to dominate.
Intensity, for lack of a better word, for lack of better exercises here. Yo, Ted, love that guy.
I got 2 today.
You got 2 turkey burgers today.
I ate how many one, I was pissed. If it's during the week, I want to be out of the gym by 7 o'clock. Get ready, take my kid to school. I always like doing it first thing. You know, start my day like that. Gotta get up, get it done.
I like that if you can. I'm not so much of a morning person, so I hate going to the gym before work, but getting it out of the way and getting it done is a good principle. It's also good for your circadian rhythm when you exercise in the morning. Like your body is primed to be awake during the day and then sleep at night. All right, let's see what we got here. Some proper lunges, except we're using some type of goblet grip. The goblet grip isn't ideal because it's a very tiring position for you to be holding weight for a significant period of time. I would much rather you just hold the dumbbells at your side. Okay, there it is, the bicep curl, again, swinging at the shoulder, pet peeve. Okay, some cable rows, cable press downs. That was good technique on that cable press down. Oh God, the combination push-up, ab crunch type movement. These machine laterals are good, that's solid. Machine preacher curls, I like that technique. Some cardio basically, wood chopper type stuff. I'm just gonna close my eyes to this. Okay, some goblet squats. Goblet squats are a good beginner exercise. It's a difficult position for you to be holding significant weight in, so at some point you're gonna run into problems with progressive overload. You're not gonna be able to lift heavy enough, and plus your gym isn't gonna have heavy enough dumbbells. So I think Mark needs to be pushing the weight more. Like you need to be choosing exercises with a high overload ceiling, is the way I like to put it. So basically, what is the limit, the upper limit for how much weight I could add to this exercise? With a goblet squat, the limit isn't very high. You're not gonna be able to go very heavy. But with a barbell squat, there's basically no limit to how heavy you can lift, at least within reason. So that would be my recommendation. Go for the barbell squat or something more overloadable.
Friends don't let friends skip legs.
That's right. If your friend is skipping legs, don't let them. Ab wheel rollouts. Honestly, I don't think the abs need direct training for the most part. This is gonna be controversial for me in the comments, but your abs get trained well with heavy compound movements, and they don't actually need direct work for the most part. I don't train my abs at all, and abs are one of my strongest body parts on stage. Getting a six-pack is all about losing the fat that's covering your abs. Okay, some type of around the world overhead. This is not a good exercise because you're not putting a target muscle through a good range of motion. You're basically just moving weight. Like you're just doing work, burning some calories, I guess, but not a very targeted exercise. Swiss ball rollouts will actually target your hamstrings, but they're not very overloadable. So it's hard for you to add weight and actually make it more difficult over time. More unnecessary ab work. Okay, let's see the physique. Damn, it's looking jacked, yo. It wasn't from all that HIIT cardio though. Definitely not.
Mark has that's truly makes him part of that athletic eye, that variable of intensity and pride. So the rib protein has a little bit more Well, it has L-carnitine, a natural supplement that kind of has a little bit more of a lasting metabolism effect, and then
Okay, I don't like this calling out of specific amino acids. You really just want a whole whey protein, or just a solid protein source for that matter. If you have a whole whey protein, you're gonna have a full complement of amino acids in it. So you don't actually need BCAAs or specific amino acids. Just get a whole whey protein.
also this one has the green tea extract, which also has a little bit more of a metabolic effect, and then just a slightly higher amount of caffeine. So just those three.
Green tea extract, not really useful. Caffeine can be useful in a fat loss phase, but I would recommend more so using it to get through your day. Like if you're really going through fatigue at work or having low motivation to get through your workouts, that's when you use caffeine. You want to use it independently and you want to control how much you're taking.
Natural supplements that would be driven for.
Got the red Solo cups again. It's a protein party.
It's hard to carry a body fat percentage under 10%. It's just.
Yeah, it is, but Mark is not at that point. Under 10% body fat is like seeing striations on your obliques and getting into territory of striated glutes. Mark definitely isn't at that point. He's probably somewhere between 10 to 15% body fat here, but definitely not under 10.
For males, 8, 30 to
But at
50.
45, this is definitely the fastest I've been in shape. The best shape that I've been in a while.
I felt like this beginning part of the video was actually some of the most effective training I saw in the whole video. So you can tell that Mark actually does do some heavier overload compound movements. So maybe there is some more good training that he's just not showing for some reason. I don't know why, but I guess that trainer just thought that the other HIIT style stuff looked cool, but obviously a lot of time is being wasted in this training program, but there are a few solid basics in it.
Well, I get up at 3 o'clock, every morning.
I don't believe in waking up so early. I don't think it's necessary. Maybe for some people who are really, really early birds, it's fine if you naturally wake up really early to lean into that. But I don't really believe in forcing yourself to wake up unnaturally early so you can fit in some extra workout time. Obviously, if you need to get up before work to get a workout in at all, then do it. But I feel like there's this grind culture that's been going on where people are just like, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. and then I moved it up to 3 a.m. and people seem to flex on how little sleep they're getting. Sleep is very important for your body's ability to recover, especially if you're trying to lose fat like Mark is in this video. You want to make sure that your recovery is on point, and sleep is going to be your best friend when it comes to recovery.
Egg whites, Ezekiel bread with a little bit of almond butter. And each meal.
Egg whites are a great protein source. I really like those when I was cutting. I just ran a 2-week mini cut where I lost almost 5 pounds of fat, and I would have egg whites every night before bed. Just cook them in the microwave, but they're a great, really lean protein source that's very filling.
So by the time I finish my workout, then what do I do? I go get the shake?
Yeah, performance inspired with a little bit of blueberries, maybe like 8 blueberries in the shake.
Blueberries are great. I don't see why you need to count them.
After that, we go for golfing.
What time we golfing?
7 o'clock.
No, 6.
6.
Okay, so we have the egg whites at 3:30. Have the shake about 5:15 when we finish the workout, and then we're off to the golf course at 6.
6.
Then 10:30, what do we
At
eat?
10:30, we have a tuna salad. It's made with lettuce and spinach, with a little bit of bell peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, a little avocado. After that meal, we'll probably have like a chicken.
Tuna salad would be a solid lean choice. I think canned tuna is another thing that I lean on heavily during my cuts. Very lean and filling. Mixing with vegetables is gonna be great.
And breast again with this, spinach, steamed spinach, might be some carrots, a little bit
Sweet
of olives
potato.
sometimes,
Olives.
sweet potatoes,
Get the little essential fat.
Yeah.
Healthy fat with the olives.
healthy fat.
Sweet potatoes are a good choice. They're actually surprisingly filling, depending on how you cook them. If you just boil them or bake them, solid carb sources.
What are we eating at 4:30?
We eat fish, just steamed,
Spinach.
maybe a little lemon on top, just
Asparagus. And then what about the nuts?
The key is how you cook it, right? Note that he talked about steaming, which is great. It's a great way of cooking where you're not adding additional fat and sugar. And ideally, he just said adding a bit of lemon. You're not adding like cream sauce or sauce that have a lot of extra calories.
How many nuts? Like
a little
thumb size.
thumb size of nuts, a little
Almond, cashew.
and cashews. And then at the end of the day,
Just a few whole nuts. I think that's a great way to get in your fat sources. Having just whole nuts, you're still gonna get fat in, but it's the relatively more filling type of fats or relatively more filling fat sources.
I make a rotisserie chicken, really nice with any vegetable steam, you know what I mean?
What about
Rotisserie chickens are underrated. underrated. You can actually get some pretty good protein in a whole food source for cheap, and now it's very available. Most grocery stores have them, so that's solid.
I said no beans, right?
Mama said no beans.
Why?
I don't know why she said why, but I think
Because they're farting too much.
Yeah, little beans are good. I don't think the beans are what make you fat a lot. I think it might
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if that's his wife, but she doesn't want him having beans. Too much farting going on.
be that.
Valid.
You know, what do you think that is? Just eating healthy, right?
Just eating healthy, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the greens
protein,
sometimes.
oh.
When you break down greens, the bacteria in our stomach, there's all those little, it's just digestion.
You don't want to be in the car when that happens.
All right, so there you have it. Mark Wahlberg's training was basically like a long glorified HIIT training workout to me. That's what it seemed like. There's really so much more you can get out of focusing on progressive overload at the gym rather than going for like HIIT style workouts. I see a lot of people whose entire workout regime consists of these type of HIIT style workout boot camps. It's really popular, and I understand how people want to get into the gym with other people to feel motivated, but you're just not really doing yourself a favor. It's burning calories, but you're gonna burn calories anyways lifting heavy weights. The difference is when you focus on progressive overload, you're actually gonna build muscle, and when you have more muscle, it's gonna make it easier for you to lose fat. Anyways, hope you guys took something away from this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you enjoyed this type of video and I'll make more. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to transform your physique and your life, and we'll see you next time.